Hi folks, it's Goblin140 and welcome back to day 3 of my review of the Robots in Disguise build team. We're going to look at another member of the group today. And there's an interesting thing regarding this one particular character in that I've always found that strength is always a good thing to have in a Transformers character. Intelligence is a good thing as well, but with characters like Perceptor and Wheeljack, intelligence isn't really that hard to come by in Transformers, so there you go. But with strength, when anybody usually thinks of strength in Transformers characters, nowadays they think of characters like Bulkhead and Animated or Prime, or just those characters that don't get often mentioned. And it's always good to have at least one Autobot character that's strong, that's powerful, and that's easily able to beat the Decepticons or any enemy into the ground to make sure that they win the day. And that's pretty much what we're going to look at today with this one particular character. Today, we are going to take a look at Robots in Disguise build team member Heavy Load. What can I really say about Heavy Load? Because Heavy Load is a bit of an enigma to me in some way or another. Heavy Load is as bulky as his name implies. And that's quite saying a lot, in that his thick armor is intimidating to the point where he can easily scare off Decepticons or Predacons, regardless of what it is. Well, bearing in mind, in RID, the Predacons were never really all that intimidating. They were just mainly as a comic relief group until the Decepticons showed up. But Heavy Load is there when all else is lost for the build team. He's pretty much the strongest and the most powerful, and easily the most capable of being the one to fight the most as well. But he's also, despite him being the strongest, he can also lift the most equipment, which is always a good thing to have as well, because if you're a builder, you want to make sure that you have enough strength in you to carry lifting equipment, to carry lifting equipment and heavy equipment around to make sure that you build the building on time. And aside from him being the strongest as well, he's studied martial arts as well, so he's quite agile on his feet despite him being the largest and somewhat wide transformer in the bunch, next to Hightower. But despite him being a martial artist and being quite strong as well, he also has one unique thing about him as well, in that he also acts primarily as the mentor to Wedge. In that, whereas Hightower acted as a bodyguard because of his wide body scale, and of course, Heavy Load acts as the mentor for his wide body scale and his age as well. So kind of you would see him as the older character, but in some cases he pretty much is what the group what the group really needs and what Wedge really needs as well to help him become the leader that he wants to be. Well, the leader that everyone wants him to be, really. So it's not just the member of the build team. So there you go. That's pretty much his bio in a nutshell. As for what he did in the show, he didn't do a lot. And I said that before about Hightower, is that most of the build team members, with the exception of Wedge, had the least development. And they had no stories mainly to themselves, except the one story that I can think of where Wedge actually did anything at all was in the episode A Test of Metal, where Wedge intercepted transmission mainly for the Autobot brothers, in saying the Decepticons had been attacking construction sites anywhere, pretty much anywhere they can, and the build team decided to face off the Decepticons alone. But Hightower, of course, sabotaged the space bridge, and Heavy Load began to think that their plan was not such a good idea. So after regrouping, after being defeated, the build team formed a landfill, and after that they soaked in an oil bath with Team Bullet Train. There you go. I'm really sorry, that's not really much I can say regarding anything he did, so there you go. But as for who voiced this character as well, he is played in English by Darren Norris, and I don't even need to name all the things that Darren Norris has done over the years, but I'm going to just go ahead and name a few of the things that he's best known for doing. He's played Cosmo in The Fairly Odd Parents. He was Andy in Cowboy Bebop. He was also the voice of Redler in the Transformers Armada PS2, the Transformers Armada video game, and he's recently as well the voice of Knockout in Transformers Prime. So that's pretty good. Also, in Japanese, when he was in Carl Roberts, where he was known as, what was he known as? He was known as Bill Typhoon. He was voiced by Yoshikazu Nagano. I have no idea what he's done, so I apologize for not knowing too much about him, but Darren Norris is quite an underrated voice actor. In the performance that Darren Norris gives to this one character quite stands out quite well, and it makes this character feel a little bit aged. And that's pretty much what makes this character interesting as well. But interesting in that he didn't do anything, but interesting in the fact that he has an interesting personality. Interesting in the fact that he's the strongest and that he's the most intimidating, in that he's the last piece of the puzzle to help make the group kick ass. And to be fair, that's pretty much what all Transformers what all Transformers shows need. A character to be cool. And a character to be strong as well. That's always a good thing as well. But there you go. That's pretty much Heavy Load in a nutshell. He's a strong, powerful, wide, quite loud, but he has his moments. He has his moments of being a very likable character, and that's a good thing as well. Also, regarding Darren Norris, if you don't know who Darren Norris is, shame on you. Go on IMDb and Wikipedia and look up all the things he's done. He's a great actor. Oh, also one thing I forgot to mention as well, he played the voice of Spotswood, Team America World Police. Weird movie, but funny as fuck. So anyway, now that I've yammered on about Heavy Load as short as the bio is, excuse me, but that's just how it is, we are now going to cut straight onto his toy. And his toy, of course, is a yellow dump truck. And there's an interesting thing regarding this one toy. But we'll get onto that a little bit later on. But this toy is a dump truck. And it's actually a very nice looking dump truck. It's a very well detailed, nicely sculpted, and very stonking, blocky, brickish Transformer as well. And it actually works very nicely as well. And the thing is, I say that, that it's a brick. It is a brick. Because when you look at most dump trucks and how they're designed, they have a sort of brick look to them. So this is kind of a spot-on design. But, and of course, like the other Build Team members, this toy shared the same redeco treatment in that this mold, of course, is also used to make Universe Longhaul, which is a good thing because in G1, Longhaul was a dump truck. In RD, Heavy Load was a dump truck. And it's a nice idea that Hasbro took this toy for that one character. I only wish, and I saw that toy years ago, but I only wish that they changed the head sculpt, because as much as I like the head sculpt for this, it doesn't work for the Longhaul, just saying. And he also got the yellow redeco treatment, which not sure why, because this guy's about as yellow as urine. So there you go. And with that being said, yes, he is as yellow as a bowl of urine and custard and all that yellowy, crappy stuff. It still sticks out. The one thing that I think kind of really is a big drawback for the Build Team is that some of the characters the colours stick out. Heavy Load's one in particular kind of is a little bit secretive in some way or another, but it's still yellow is a bit of a stick-out color. Yellow is a bit of a stick-out color. Yellow is a bit of a stick-out color for Heavy Load in that I would imagine him being a little bit more of an orange color, because whenever you see dump trucks, usually orange or grey or yellow or tripping over my own words. Saying that yellow is a bad colour when in fact you see yellow dump trucks every day. And there's also an interesting thing regarding this one toy. This toy is the same mold as Hightower. And that's interesting because if you look at, okay, here's Hightower's toy that I reviewed yesterday. And here's Heavy Load's toy. Both of these toys share the same mold, only with a few minor differences. Because if you look at the front, they both have grills, but of course Heavy Load's one has blue lights and a little bit of silver, and of course the yellow construction warning signs on the front right there, and of course Hightower has the same, but not so much of a better grill, of course, and on the side as well. More detail on Hightower, less detail on Heavy Load on the side for some reason, and on the back as well you'll see the lights are the same, whereas Heavy Loads were red, the red, and of course Hightowers were orange, and of course they do share the same mold, but there are some differences, whereas Hightower has a crane head, whereas Longhaul of course has this, has a little dumping thing. And of course regarding this dumping thing as well, in that I like how well mechanized this is, because of course you can lift this up and of course can drop the rocks or whatever onto the ground, causing the landfill. But I do like how this toy looks. It's quite a nice toy. I've got no problems with it. It's a fine toy. It's a brick, and it is what it is. It's a brick, but it's still really, really good. Now to transform this guy, and transforming this guy really isn't all that hard. Same transformation as Hightower. Take this bit off. We're going to get onto that a little later on. And pull out the legs. Oh, disconnect the arms and then pull out the legs. But for some reason, of course, with my one, I don't know if anybody else has this toy, but with my one, this piece kind of moves too far, but we'll just straighten that out. There we are. And of course, straighten the arms out and lift this piece around and attach that onto the back. And rotate this piece around where you lift up the head, which is the chest compartment, and fold out the arms. And of course, like Hightower, fold out the big long feet and ankles. And here you have Heavy Load, the big badass builder that pretty much is the one character that would give Bob the Builder the run for his money. In that, okay, I like how this toy looks in robot mode. It looks fantastic, and yes, it's the same toy as Hightower, but it still looks really good. The head sculpt, first of all. I don't know if you can see it, but the head sculpt, of course, has red eyes. Hightower has red eyes, meaning that he's an Autobot. But he's not a Decepticon. We all know the whole thing that Decepticons have red eyes and blah 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 blah. I don't want to go into that anymore. So, whereas now it's well, hang on. Actually, in the show, actually, he does actually have. Actually, no way. Sorry, he does have red eyes in the show. My mistake. I haven't watched the show in a while, so my memory isn't really all that good with it. But yes, he does have red eyes in the show, so this toy is quite show accurate. But I don't know if you can see it or not. But of course, this is a very well sculpted head. You can see the yellow eyes, and of course, if you look at the head a little bit closer, it doesn't really show good focus on the camera, but he has a smirking mouth, which is a good thing as well. You want to make this guy, whoever designed this guy, obviously wanted to make this guy look like Bruce Campbell, but with that sort of groovy-looking smirk. And of course, the head can rotate the full 360, which is pretty cool. And as articulation is, the arms can rotate the full 360, which is pretty good. Elbows have good articulation, and the knees very stiff and can lock in from time to time, but they are still well posable. This toy is quite posable, and it still suffers the same problem as Hightower in that the feet are too long. I still have no idea why this guy and Hightower have long feet. It would have been so much easier to have pull-out feet in the legs, but then again, whoever designed this toy is an idiot for putting these feet long anyway. So, you get what you pay for. And one other thing that I forgot to mention as well, aside from this toy being well articulated in some of the joints that he has a decent weapon. This, of course, becomes his claw, which I don't know why this guy has a claw, and of course this looks like a mouth. Nom 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 nom. Yeah, what the fuck was that about? I'm sorry, but yeah, he has a claw for some reason. This guy has a claw, and of course, if you want this piece can act as like a shield for either him or Landfill, whichever way works. Or actually, let's have a look at this for a second, because it's been a while since I've had this toy in robot mode. Yeah. That doesn't look right for some reason. That really doesn't look right at all. I really don't like how this looks. This weapon is way too big. And it just... yeah. It's like he's holding a big mouth. But there is, of course, an alternative in that you can also have this on the back, acting as... If the shield has nothing to do, or if the mouth has nothing to do, it can just go on the back right there. And you can just have him just act casual, as he should be. But I like this toy a lot. Despite its flaws in the legs, of course, and I do say that this toy has some good balance without the feet out as well, because without the feet out, this toy has some really good balance as well. But without the feet, it would make it hard to have this guy standing up. But this guy needed better feet, him and Hightower. But to wrap it all up, I like how this toy looks. It's a very well designed toy. It has some neat articulation and posability. It's quite stiff in some of the joints, which is not a bad thing. You want to make sure the Transformers that you have good stiff joints, and that they're posable, and that they can do whichever you want them to do. But Hightower as a character, I really wish he did a whole lot, though, because I like how this character is. He's strong and intimidating, he's powerful and he's brave, but he also acts mainly as the mentor to Wedge, and that's a good thing. You want to make sure the leader, an immature leader like Wedge, has someone to look up to, and that's pretty much a good thing for any Transformers character to have. But with Heavy Load, you can see that his mouth is going, yes, look at me, I am Heavy Load. I am an awesome character, look at my muscles. I don't know what the fuck that was about, I'm sorry. But I like this toy a lot. I like this toy. That and Hightower are good toys, despite their flaws. But I've carried this review on long enough, though. So anyway, to wrap this up, I like this toy a lot. The character could have done a lot more. I like the character still, but there you go. This has been Robots in Disguise Heavy Load, and I'm Scorpion140. We are continuing on this week, ladies and gentlemen, with the Build Team review. Tomorrow we're going to be taking a look at the last member of the group, Grimlock, and then after that we're moving on to the combiner known as Landfall. So until then, folks, see you all tomorrow.